you so much. Thank you, DJ Tito. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm going to say it again because I want some energy. I want you all to feel the energy. Today is a celebration. So, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. All right. So, I want to welcome all of you, along with my co-host, Alfred Curtis. And this afternoon, I have the bittersweet honor, alongside of my co-host and friend, the Honorable Alfred B. Curtis, to welcome you to a celebration of life. Yeah. And the important thing is that we have a lot to celebrate because Gene was a phenomenal young man who gave us a lot of energy and a lot of things to be happy about his very short-lived life. When we learned of the tragic news of Gene's death, and I'm calling him Gene because that's how his grandmother first introduced me to him. The tragic news of his death rocked the community of Staten Island, and we wanted to join the family in mourning the loss of their beloved son, brother, grandson, and nephew. So we decided that when the opportunity presented itself, we would pay homage to our much beloved brother. So today we gathered together to lift up our brother in a jubilant celebration of a life well lived, although admittedly too short. We, the Staten Island community, wanted the family to feel the love that we have for Eric. Anna, Daryl, and Naomi, we thank you for sharing Eric with us. He made an indelible impact on our lives and our minds, and we loved him, and we love you. I'm just going to share, so you don't have to listen to me too much again. Just some first impressions. When I first met Gene, and that's how his grandmother Marjorie Garvin introduced him to me, it was evident that he was a young man of potential and promise. Eric Eugene Garvin had a big, warm smile that exuded confidence and competence with a work ethic to match. The passion he had for social and criminal justice issues drove him to fiercely, and I do mean fiercely, advocate for those that society often overlooked, cast aside, ignored, or persecuted, because he believed in their intrinsic value and their need for opportunities and second chances, which he demonstrated by his dedication and work with the young dirt bikers and with the young men and women of True to Life. That's our violence prevention program here at the Central Family Life Program. Eric became an ever-present and beloved participant in our battle against gun violence and a vocal advocate for re-entry programs. Eric's fierce activism, humanity, and strong belief system often put him on the other side of bureaucratic governmental policies. He had a way of making you feel like you were his best friend and entitled to all of the benefits that came with that title. Eric was loving, kind, smart, articulate, and driven. He could, and believe me, he would debate with the best. One of the qualities that best suited his career choice to be a lawyer. I had the opportunity to watch him make common sense arguments. I saw him make a common sense argument before a very tough, unyielding administrative judge, and he garnered the win for his client. He was an unassuming leader who clearly was on a trajectory to make a difference in any arena that he chose. So it is heartbreaking that his bright light was extinguished by the very cycle of violence that he fought so hard to eradicate. We loved him and we miss him.
Thank you, Madam Councilwoman. Guests, one and all, God of our wayward years, God of our silent tears, Thou who has brought us thus far on our way, Thou who has by Thy might led us into the light. Keep us forever in Thy path, we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met Thee. Lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget Thee. Shadow beneath Thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land. We welcome all of you here today. We know that words are powerless to express the love, gratitude, adoration, and affection that we have for young Eric. He was a man whose life was cut short quickly. No parent should have to bear the child. And the pain that Eric and his wife and daughter and grandmother had gone through, I felt it. Eric, there are times I didn't call you because I didn't want to cry with you. I didn't have the appropriate words to say to you and your family, because your loss is my loss. And I have a son your age. But you know what? He who tempers the wind and show land looks down with infinite compassion upon the father, the sister, the mother, and family. And his great arm of mercy will continue to be wrapped around you in perpetuity. You are on a new trajectory, a new journey in life. This is not something you prepared for. This is not something you even thought of. But it's a Gork situation. G-O-R-K. God only really knows. So we welcome all of you to this celebration, and we ask you to hug your son, your daughter, your mother, your father, your friend, because you've heard the phrase, tomorrow is not promised to you. Here today, gone tomorrow. No. Here today, gone today. So let us live our lives on the line of rectitude and truth, so that in the morning of our day, we may be called from late to refreshing. To Eric and his wife, Eric, you know, in life you can't choose your brother. You can't choose your sister. But you can choose your friend. And I'm happy to have chosen you as a friend. God bless you and the family.
We're now going to have a tradition in our culture is to pour libations and do African drumming. And we have none other than our own iconic African drummer and our brother, Mr. Gregory Taylor. It should be on. Push it on. See the button. Tito? Tito's changing. It's not.
Hello? Okay. Y'all hear me now? Libation. Pouring of libation. The pouring of libation is very important because what it does is giving thanks and to the Creator and welcoming the creative presence and our ancestors' presence amongst us. So it's important. It's important. It's important that we remember, but not just remember. It shows us that we have an obligation to remember. And that we just don't remember people, but we follow their lead. We have many ancestors who led us to so many great things, and it's up to us to remember those good things and to follow in those footsteps. And I was so honored when I was asked to pour libation and to drum for this young brother who only got to meet just once. Only got to meet just once. And to be gone so soon on this, his 39th birthday. Hey. So, look, what we miss most is the promise of Eric Eugene Garvin. Because he did this before he was 39, all that he accomplished. We miss the promise of him. So with that, we're going to pour libation in which we give honor and thanks. Just pouring of water. In many African traditions, it's done with spirit, namely gin or palm wine. And we say Madasi. Madasi just means thank you. So we say Madasi for the Creator. Madasi for all that He has created. Madasi for the creation. Madasi for all that we have been given so that we may move on and push forward. We say Madasi for all the ancestors who have passed and whose lives we hold dear to our heart. We say Madasi for the life of Eric Eugene Garvin, because that was a life well lived. We say Madasi and ask that all of those whose spirits that we love and cherish be amongst us today. And with that, I ask that you call out some names. Call out names of ancestors within your own family tree, or names that are famous. For example, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. We ask that you call out their names so that we always honor the obligation to remember. That's an obligation that we can't take lightly. So we say Madasi Malcolm. Madasi Martin. Just call out names. Just call out names. Just call out names. Dorothy Hammer. Call out names. Call out names. Call out names. Mary Baraka. Call out names. Millicent Hampton. Call out names. Call out names. Simone Rowan. Call out names, Darrell Taylor. Call out names. Call out names so that they are always here, that they are always amongst us, that we always honor the obligation to remember them and keep them close to our hearts. Call out names. 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 And with that, we say, Madasi, for all that you have done. We say, Madasi, thank you for the promise of you, because we have an obligation to follow in the footsteps, in the positive footsteps that all those ancestors have laid down for us. With that, I'm going to play a little bit, and then we're going to move on with the program. Little thing.
Thank you so much, Brother Taylor. You know, this, we started out talking about having a memorial service. And the community decided that we didn't want to have a traditional memorial service. We'd rather have a celebration. We wanted to be jubilant, and we wanted to share with the family not only the love we have, but we wanted to share with you how we felt about Eric through the talents that God gave us. And so you will see things on this program that you won't see at your traditional church service. And that's by design, because the community wanted to express their love for him in their way. And you'll notice that many of us are wearing blue because that is Eric's favorite color. So we're sort of like, you know, channeling all of our Eric spirit by wearing the wearing of the blue. And so I would like to ask our own esteemed Reverend Dr. Catherine Barrett Williams to offer us a prayer of comfort. Yes, come on.
Thank you, Councilmember Emeritus Debbie Rose and Emeritus Commissioner Alfred Curtis. We are here to celebrate his life. Today, 39 years, ironically, Dr. King also, at 39 years of age, met a similar fate. Voice that was silenced too soon, as was Eric's. But in the illustrious song of the gospel artist, though the voice may be silenced, let the works I've done speak for me. Let us bow our heads. Heavenly Father, as I come to you, Lord, we thank you for this hour that we have come together to celebrate a life and remember, Lord, the works and to let those works live on. We thank you, Lord, dear God, that although this is not something that we can completely wrap our heads around, we really, Lord, can't make sense out of nonsense. But Lord, we just at this hour pray this prayer and scream to the heights of heaven that, Lord, you will bring the peace and comfort that only you can give in this time of need. And Father, we will look to the hills from whence comes our help right now only comes from you. And this kind of help can't be found any place else but in you, because you are the God of all comfort. Lord, so as we go through these moments and these days and these months and these years, God, these decades, with this absence, Lord, let his work continue to speak loud and speak volumes, Lord, dear God. Even in this very room where he once stood, Lord, I pray that the echo of his voice will be heard, and that the comfort of your peace will melt us to the point that, God, our grief and mourning will be turned into laughter and joy at this life that was lived. It's in the name of Jesus Christ I pray and give you thanks. Amen. Thank you, family, and on behalf of my husband, Pastor Donnie, and myself, and the community, we are standing behind you 100%. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Reverend Barrett Williams is one of my favorite people. I couldn't not say that. Not because she called me Emeritus Councilwoman, but she has always been an inspiration and a huge support for this community. And any time there's been an incident of violence or just a need for the community to heal, she's been out there on the front lines. And I thank you so much, so much. And now the DJ Tito, is going to play a musical selection called Giving Love by the Voices of Harlem. And as it plays, I'd like you to listen to the words, because I believe these words are in Eric's voice, that these are words that he said and believed. Tito?
Did you hold somebody?
At this time, I would like to call up a very good friend who did not think it robbery to be here today. And she has been what I refer to her as the ubiquitous senator. That means she's all over the place at all times. And she's very responsive when you call her. I'd like to invite our senator up, Senator Jessica Spenton, to say a few words.
We had the pleasure of Jessica and our assemblymen honored the life of Eric in the state capitol recently, and the picture on the podium was taken, in honor of that day. And we'd like to thank Senator Stanton for all that she's done for the community and his family.
Good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, thank you so much, Mr. Curtis, and our council member forever, Emeritus, Debbie Rose, for helping to put this together today. Today we gather to remember and honor the life of Eric Garvin, a remarkable individual who made an indelible mark on the Staten Island community. I want to most importantly express my deepest condolences to Eric's parents, Eric Sr., and Anna, and his grandmother, my dear friend, Miss Margie, and all of his other family and friends who are here today. Eric was a man of great dedication and passion, and when he moved to Staten Island from Maryland over a decade ago, he brought with him a commitment to justice, equality, and community. Eric's love of education led him to obtain a law degree, a move that helped him hone his knowledge to later serve our community. Later on, his work with both the City Council and the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice showcased his commitment to making a positive impact on the lives of those around him. During his time with the Mayor's Office, Eric stood at the forefront of initiatives aimed at combating gun violence in neighborhoods that were deeply affected, such as Brownsville. His dedication and innovative approach was shown through the collaborations with others in the community to develop strategies that would help keep these neighbors safe. All of his work in his community and within the government sector led Eric to establish the Pure Re-Up Agency, which will continue on as proof of Eric's dedication to entrepreneurship and education, sparking passion in young minds and encouraging them to pursue their dreams and aspirations. Eric's legacy is one of service, compassion, and responsibility to people of all ages. His efforts were a testament to his belief in the power of collective action. He understands the importance of working tirelessly to address societal issues, to be a voice for the voiceless, and to create a better Staten Island for generations to come. As we remember Eric today, on what should be his 39th birthday, and as we celebrate his life, let us also be inspired by the life he led, one with dedication to justice and a willingness to embrace challenges. Let us carry forward his legacy by continuing his work, by striving for equality, and by fostering a sense of unity in the North Shore. And I must say that his legacy is one that truly inspires me to be a better elected official every single day. His family, I have never seen people present themselves with such grace and dignity and humbleness, and that's an inspiration to me as well, to carry forward and never forget the legacy that your son has left. I will always do my best to try to make him and the whole Garvin family proud. I am immensely sorry for your loss, and I have no doubt that this community will always live through him. He deserves so many more years, but this celebration is a testament to everything that he has done, he should have been able to do, and I will be here for you till forever. So thank you, and may God bless his memory, and thank you so much for having me this afternoon.
Is there a representative from the mayor's office here? Well, these words embody the young Eric Garvin. William Penn said it best. He said, "We shall pass this place but once. If therefore there be any good deed we can do, or any kindness we can show, let us do it now, and not defer, for we may not pass this way again." And that's what young Eric Garvin did. He made a tremendous impact on the community. Just a few hours ago on Saturday, a street corner was named in his honor for Well Life Lived. A man who did the most good for the most people in the most need. A man whose life and legacy we celebrate with heightened exuberance today. But also we appreciate his family, for what they shared with us, a decent, debonair young man, vivacious, eloquent, well-dressed, articulate. Am I correct? Yes, he was all those things. And because of him, we all the better for knowing young Eric Garvin. And to God be the glory for a life well lived.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So we would like to do a special a video presentation, just a little slideshow a slideshow of some pictures that commemorate the life of Eric. And if you'll look at the screen, and as we view this, the DJ is going to cue up something for us, right? We're going to sing Happy Birthday to Eric Garvin. Today it would have been his 39th birthday. So as we watch, we're going to sing Happy Birthday. I'm going to wait for Steve to start. I felt it. It was so good. Mike Perry from True to Life. Yeah, no. Okay. Mr. Curtis and Mr. Curtis spoke with our borough president and told him about the life of Eric Eugene Garvin and how important it was not only to his family, but to the entire Staten Island community. And so the borough president honored us with a proclamation. And I'm sure Mr. Curtis wants to tell you. I'm gonna tell you. Today is Eric Eugene Garvin Day in Staten Island. Can someone please take a picture?
Yes. You know, in these proclamations, there are a lot of whereases, but I'll not go through it all. I'll read the most important part of it. Now, therefore, I, Vito Fasella, President of the Borough of Staten Island, by virtue of the power and authority vested in me by the laws of the state of New York, do hereby proclaim August 13, 2023 as Eric Eugene Garvin Day in the Borough of Staten Island.
The borough president also recognizes the efforts and the long record and legacy of Eric Eugene Garvin's grandmother, Marjorie Garvin, and has made a proclamation available to her in honor of her grandson. We're not going to make her come up and get it. We will bring it down to you, okay? So we will now have one of our illustrious reverends at Central Family, at First Central Baptist Church is Reverend Dale Smith. He is affiliated with Eric through True to Life, through his Taekwondo program, his brothers, there's a program for his young brothers, and he has chosen to honor Eric by delivering us a spoken word poem that he himself wrote. Reverend Dale Smith.
Doug knows me, I'm about energy, so y'all gotta give me a better round of applause than that. I'm coming, come on. honor to God, honor to the Garvin family. I do want to share a couple of things before I start my poem. Eric Garvin was near and dear to me, not that we hung out, but he was never phony. No matter what, I want to take my time to explain what I'm talking about. No matter what space you saw Eric in, he was the same person. And those of us who are African descent, there were certain places we disappear, we don't become ourselves. You can read between the lines what I'm saying, but I hope you understand fully what I'm saying. This was not what Eric Garvin did. If I saw him at a murder scene, he was the same person. How you doing, Mr. Dale? If I saw him in the mayor's office, he was the same person. If I saw him eating barbecue, he was the same person. That's a gift. Give him a round of applause just for that. That's an honorable life. So when I wrote this poem, I fashioned in a way that I would honor a superhero. Not Black Panther, not Batman, but Eric G. Y'all shout Eric G. Y'all shout Eric G. In the midst of the struggle of freedom, I met a soldier of peace who always spoke to me. His name was Eric G. No sellout tendencies, only social justice remedies. This man was at ease in any crowd, always black, always proud. Help his people to never slip or fall, remembering always to throw back over a rope to get them over the oppression wall. His walking rhythm came from the drum, never playing a plantation game he refused to succumb. To capitalist manners that black people hear, his power, his love, and never fear. Eric G was equipped with a fight, never wandering in darkness because he followed the world's only true light. He was a hero of substance who most would call super. He never fell for the lie of inclusion, never falling into a house Negro stupor. Yes, he was a brother I always loved to see. Because in his prison, he always gave me the wink and said, let's get free. Eric's legacy is not about ego or pride. It's about his commitment he had to his tribe. A tribe of true Americans who built this country so it will be great again. Eric, as I too sing America, Langston wrote about. He's the essence of the best of us, and that should make us shout. Eric's an example of what should be, what needs to be, and so someday we can all be free. So I say not goodbye, but until we meet again. Father, the God who serves, so this freedom struggle, I know we will win. Therefore, as I look to the winds of the west and the east, I put the power hand up for me, y'all. I put the power hand up for me, Lord. I put the power hand through Eric G, our soldier of peace. Peace, I share.
That's our revolutionary Reverend Gail Smith. Warrior. We're now going to have a musical selection by Commissioner Brandon Stratford, who, once you hear Brandon sing, you have really been impacted. And Brandon brings special talent to the song. And so he's going to sing for us. He ain't heavy, he's my brother, Brandon Stratford, Commissioner Brandon Stratford.
and comfort me. You know why? He ain't heavy. He's my brother. Yes, he is. And if I'm laid at all, I'm laden with sadness, with sadness, with sadness. That everyone's heart is not filled with gladness of love for one another. Thank you, Lord. You know what? I said it's a long, it's such a long. I said it's a long, yeah. It's a long, 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 long road from which there is no return. While we're on the way today, why not share? The Lord doesn't weigh me down at all, not at all, not at all, not at all, not at all. I said, he ain't heavy. He's my brother. He's my brother. He's not heavy. He's not heavy. He's my brother. He is my brother. Yes, he is. He's not heavy. Not at all, not at all, not at all. He is my brother. He is my brother.
All you can do after that is say amen. Amen. We're going to have community reflections. And this is where our beloved community gets a chance to say how they felt about Eric. We're going to ask Mike Perry, Iron Mike, from True to Life, to come up. He worked very closely with Eric. And as he's coming up, I'd ask all the members of True to Life to stand, if they're here. these are the brothers that go out in the street 24/7 in response to gun violence. They're out there on the front lines when the bullet wound is still open and the person's on the way to the hospital. They go to the hospital to make sure that there's no retaliation and to support the family members. And then they go back out in the street to try to make sure that, there's peace in the community. These young men and women are absolutely phenomenal. And to be safe. And I can't give them enough kudos. It takes a lot of courage to go out there in the midst of the battle to try to save lives when your own life is in jeopardy. So I have the utmost respect, and I always bow in deference to these young people who understand how important life is in our communities, and it's something that we have to take away with us, because our lives, our children's lives, are not being valued. And these young people are out there trying to save their lives. So thank you, I thank you, I love you, and thank you.
Our forever councilwoman is using the word young. And most of us up here got young children, but thank you. So really quick, right. No, but first I want to thank God. I want to thank the Garvin family for being here. Of course, our mayor, Margie Garvin, we love you. For lending Eric to us. I know this is a celebration. I want to walk around. Can I walk around a little bit, y'all? I just want to walk around a little bit. I've sat in this same building with Eric a bunch of times, and everything that our fellow councilwoman Debbie Rose mentioned about the work that we do, I want to talk about how Eric championed for us, and he was a champion and advocate for what we do, and he's part of the reason why we're standing here today. So if we want to give a round of applause to us, we got to give a round of applause to our brother Eric. Can we give a round of applause to our brother? Because, listen, you may not know, but, and some of y'all do know, our brother loves Staten Island. Are you kidding me? This brother loves Staten Island. He has ties here that I didn't know about until I met him. We sat in this same room around a lot of stakeholders, around city agencies, and people who are in charge of funding. And he's fought for us on this level. He came to see us and fought for us. He was in the city fighting for the whole model, but he had a special place in his heart for Staten Island. And so he became our brother 10 years ago. I want to say this too about a day one. We often say a day one is a person who you grew up with since you was 5 years old and you're in the sandbox, right? But that's not really true. A day one person is a person that you meet on day one and they never change, right? They never change. That's a day one. They never change. And so our brother has been, again, an advocate, a champion for the work that we do. Part of the reason why we're still standing here today because of his advocacy. The word that's coming to me right now as I'm around all of you guys is connected. Connection. I don't know why that word is coming to me right now, but connected, connection is just coming to me. And so We all heard the statement, the generic, it may be generic, I would say sometimes when they say it's not what you know is who you know. Yeah, well, knowing our brother has done a lot for me personally in my personal life. My brother here, these brothers and my sister here, knowing him, he's introduced me to so many positive people and people that's still in my life now that has helped me. Hey, let me say this. Is Anthony Posada here from Legal Aid? Okay, all good. He's supposed to be here, but everybody got things to do. But I want to bring this up. I want to make a point. It was Eric who formally kind of introduced us to Anthony Posada, and Anthony Posada, meeting him, I had a felony on my record, but through Eric. And who he is, he's strong. He's strong out there, y'all. My brother's strong. He introduced me to Anthony Posada and the work that they do. There was a law that passed in 2018 that particular men and women with certain felonies, if you're past a certain threshold, you're able to get your felony sealed. Yes. You know I got my felony sealed, right? Hey, it's just true. So I'm not going to be long-winded. I'm excited again. I thank God. I thank the Garvin family for sharing Eric with us. He's still here, because if you look at me, you look at us, I hope you still feel him in us, because he's in us. We loved him, and we still love him, and we love you guys. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Peace, everybody. I want to be real quick.
I want to introduce you.
Okay, sorry.
Yes, you are worthy of an introduction. Our next speaker, who, as you can see, is very anxious to share with us, is Malcolm Penn.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. So I am a reflection of Eric. I'm a reflection of Eric. I started doing this work. This work was brought here by our former councilwoman, Debbie Rose. And it all was just moving pretty fast. And as a guy, a young person just coming off the streets, just coming out of prison, I didn't have a lot of positive support. Meeting Eric, it actually gave us a blueprint, right? When I say a blueprint, he gave us something to look at to say, wow, like I see myself in him. I see myself minus all the mistakes that I made in life. I see myself and him living to my highest potential. Through the years, 10 years, like Mike said, doing this work, I've established a brotherhood with Eric. And I found myself calling him, having conversations with him. It was like weird when I was going through really tough moments in my life. Like Eric would call me out of nowhere, like, hey, what's up, bro? And I'll tell him what I'm going through. And he was like my therapeutic, like, you know, my special, one of my special therapeutic doctor friends, because I got Dr. Mike over here, you know. But Eric just has so many experiences, and he had this thing with him where no matter what I was going through, he would always have an easy way of making me feel better without even really trying hard. He had a lot of experiences in different places, and I always used to ask him questions about different places. And, yo, Eric, I'm thinking about going here, man. What do you think about that? Oh, the food is lovely, and this, that, and third. Like, you know, make it all before I went from Eric. But Pure Re-Up, last time I spoke to my brother, he was working on Pure Re-Up. It was very passionate to him. It was a brilliant idea. He sat down and he spoke with me about it, Mike as well. And just a community concept to give back to the community with the water that's pretty much funded by the community. The money goes right back to us, right in the community. It was a brilliant idea, and that's what he was working on. And I always think about him. He's my brother. I don't get sad no more, because now I just smile when I think about my brother. I smile because I am a reflection of him. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And so, yes, I am going to introduce you also. Anthony Reed, or Fest, as the team, and I like to consider myself part of the team, calls him Fez. So Fez has written a spoken word poem in honor of Eric.
Hello, everybody. So before I say this poem, it's crazy. Me and Eric, I met Eric through this work, but I knew Eric even before this. You know, I'm very well known to Miss Margie. I've been in her backyard. I grew up with her nephew Nigel, and I seen this young man, but I didn't even know that this was the same young man from Margie's house. You know, we never even had a chance to have that conversation, but knowing him through this work, he still treated me like as if we knew each other from that long. But we didn't even make the connection. We never had a chance to share that, but we actually knew each other from, you know, he's younger than me, so I knew him as a young man. But I just want to say a few words, and I hope that it's, I wanted to say something that I felt. Me and him had a lot of conversations, you know, I used to see him by the water, and we would talk, so I just wanted to express something for you guys. All right. Eric, the loss of your life has me at a loss of words as I do my best to speak my thoughts and concerns. This is for Eric, something in your honor. You fought for our youth in the streets to help them avoid the drama. We're praying for your family trauma. No matter what, know your family's ours. We got a voice, we got a choice. We will not stand as less of a man. We will demand to be treated as such. That's how elders would teach it to us. Miss Margie, you know what I'm saying? This is for Eric. We cherish your memories. He was loved by many. He was a friend to me. Our talks by the water, you always have positive advice. I admire your passion for the value of life. We come from a place where the good die young and the great die younger, and the stomach aches growl loud, trying to escape the hunger. But still through the concrete grew beautiful things, and how our environment built queens and kings. You traveled the world, now you travel with God. We all have an angel as you travel in the stars. Love you, Eve. God bless. God bless the family.
Thank you. Phenomenal young men and women, and in their own words, they got the chance to tell you how great Eric was. And now, we're going to have a word portrait delivered to us by Dow Kevin Buford. Kevin is actually a member of the family by marriage, and he's known as our entrepreneur and our community poet laureate, Kevin Dow Buford, or Dow Kevin Buford.
Thank you. You know, I didn't really know Eric very, very well, and it was a strange thing. I was having a conversation after this tragedy occurred. I was speaking to my friend Reverend Dale. He was telling me all about Eric, but Reverend Dale didn't know Eric's father, Darryl. I know Eric's father, Darryl, and it was strange. I was telling Reverend Dale what a wonderful person Darryl is, and he in turn was telling me what a wonderful person your son was. And so I put some words together, but I want to set it up by sharing something from Matthew chapter 25. When the Son of Man comes in his glory and all the holy angels with him, then he will sit on the throne of his glory. All the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate them one from another, as a shepherd divides his sheep from the goats. And he will set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right hand, "Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me." Then the righteous will answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? When did we see you a stranger and take you in, or naked and clothe you? Or when did we see you sick or in prison and come to you? And the king will answer and say to them, Assuredly I say to you, inasmuch as you did it for the least of these, my brother, you did it for me. Then he will also say to those on his left hand, Depart from me, you cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry, and you gave me no food. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and you did not take me in. Naked, and you did not clothe me. Sick and in prison, and you did not visit me. Then they also will answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry, or thirsty, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister to you? Then he will answer them, saying, Assuredly I say to you, inasmuch as you did not do it for the least of these, you did not do it for me. And these will go into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into eternal life. So my poem is entitled, Eric Eugene Garvin, One of God's Sheep.
That's right.
Bring out the banners. Set off the balloons. We celebrate a life that's gone too soon. Eric Eugene Garvin, who cared for the homeless and starving. A man who was only 38, but lived a life that was truly great. He stood up against hate, and he knew how to debate. Eric was highly educated, extremely dedicated. Although his time was short, he advocated in the court and held down the fort. He fought the beast because he cared for the least. Eric accomplished much. Many lives did he touch. His story will be told to future generations, bringing about hope and inspiration. Now people, listen to me, because the apple don't fall far from the tree. Eric Eugene had keen genes, some strong roots, and kind parents who were very astute. He cared for the overlooked and for those who were hooked. He was a wealth of information. He traveled to more than 40 nations. He was concerned, and for the underprivileged, he yearned. This brother was deep, one of God's sheep, memories for us to keep. So we put up a street sign to remember a life that was truly fine.
Thank you, Kevin. We have a personal history together. We both went to Bryan High School, William Cullen Bryan High School in Queens. He was a couple of classes ahead of me. He ran track, and I was editor-in-chief of our newspaper. So they taught us something at Bryan High School. At this moment, I would like to invite Colonel Garvin to come to the podium and offer a few remarks, and any other family member that he deems would like to speak. Colonel Garvin? Garvin?
Let me begin by saying thank you to the co-chairs of this event. Debbie Rose is more than a friend to the Garvin family. She's a sister. But more importantly, all of you know all too well, she is a sincere, genuine person who really cares about her people. So I want to thank Debbie from the bottom of our heart for all the work that she poured into making this day a reality. So I also want to thank You know, in the Air Force, we are very, we have a tradition. And one of those traditions is giving people call signs to reflect who they are as human beings. Well, years ago, my mother kept telling me about this guy by the name of Dr. Al Curtis, right? And I got to meet this guy, Dr. Al Curtis, and Debbie threw in his name in there several times as well. So over the past few years, I've had the pleasure and honor of meeting him. And I have anointed his new call sign as the General, because he is always making things happen in this community, and this tribute is evidence of that. So Al, thank you so much on behalf of my family for all you've done for us. Central family and Reverend Dr. Carolina, I want to say thank you for opening up this facility for this event. We certainly do appreciate that. For those of you who have traveled a few minutes to get here, for those of you who have traveled a few hours to get here, and for those of you who have traveled many hours to get here, we say thank you for helping to share in our memory of our son, Eugene. Now, I want to say thank you to my wife. You know, some folks think the most significant accomplishment in my life is being in the Air Force for 26 years, graduating distinguished graduate from the most prestigious war college there is. No, the most significant accomplishment in my life is raising two magnificent kids, in Naomi and Eugene. And I can't accept most of the credit for that, because my wife was the one who sacrificed to be a stay-at-home mom. And she was often ridiculed by those more career-minded women when she told them that she was staying home with our kids. And, you know, as I sit here today and I hear the tributes coming in, I just have to tell my wife, well done. Saying this, you know, all of these tributes, Anna, Naomi, and I didn't lobby for any of them. They were ground roots efforts that happened in this community. So you heard already about the proclamation on the floor of the House and the Senate up in Albany on May the 8th. That was all done by Assemblyman Charles Falls. He reached out to me and he said he wanted to do something very special for our son, and he delivered on that commitment. Yesterday's street signing, literally as we were going through the homegoing service, Councilwoman Hanks reached out to me and she extended herself and said, I'd like to nominate him to have a street named after him. This event, several months ago, Debbie Rose and Al Curtis reached out to me about having a memorial here in Staten Island. And to be quite candid, at the moment in February as we were laying our son, I knew the toll on my family of having two back-to-back was just too much to bear. So we decided to wait a few months. But they were the visionaries behind this. This Eugene Garvin Day proclamation. Again, the general in action. He knows people, and he knows lots of people in very, very powerful places, because he spends a lot of his energy pouring into this community. He made that a reality. And we're working on a legacy scholarship, and sometime by the end of this year, we're hoping to have that all buttoned up, and more information will follow on that. But I want to steal a phrase from my daughter, who coined this phrase several months ago. And the Garvin family has been on a journey. And the name of that journey is called It's a journey to justice and change. We are devoutly dedicated to the cause of justice. And as many of you know, there are two gentlemen that were arrested in early March, and they were sent to prison charged with murder. One of them left the prison in a body bag a few weeks ago of natural causes. So we still have to go back to Chile and have that. But we have been engaged very, very diligently. Now I want you to see this, right? This is a book that our son sent to us literally about 2 or 3 months before his demise. And it just said, no justice, no peace. So I'm not sure if our son had a premonition of his demise, but what I can tell you with absolute clarity is that that became our marching orders the moment we heard of this tragedy. And our marching order was, he would do it for me if someone had did to me. He would do it for his brothers that just spoke here earlier. So I'm going to be his voice, Anna is going to be his voice, and Naomi is going to be his voice. Pastor asked me, he says, Brother Garvin, what do you want me to pray for you for? And I thought about it for a moment, and I asked him, I said, would you please pray that somehow or another we can take this tragedy and take this pain and turn it into power, right? Power to change and make a difference for other people. And I'm proud to say that God is doing just that with the help of Senator Schumer's staff in particular. They have been angels. They have gotten the U.S. State Department Embassy engaged in my son's murder case. They have also gotten the U.S. State Department to update their travel advisory to make it safer for other Americans that are traveling to Chile. And they are still in my corner. So, in conclusion, I'd just like to say this. I read somewhere that funerals, homegoing celebrations, and these memorials are symbols and reflections of one's life and what you have poured in today. And judging from all of the outpouring from the folks here in Staten Island, the folks in Maryland and Washington, D.C., my son led a life of difference, and we're really, really proud of that. And I just want to share one very, very brief story because for me, this story summarizes my son in a nutshell. He was in law school, University of Maryland Law School, and he goes to the barbershop to get his hair cut. And he befriended a young man by the name of Darnell. Darnell was a homeless guy, and he was working in the barbershop, sweeping the floor to make a little bit of money, and he'd also wash cars to make ends meet. And one day, my son noticed that Darnell had a growth on his face. And Gene said, Darnell, you need to have a doctor look at that. And he said, I'll take you to the hospital if you like. So Darnell stands my son up 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, and then finally one day Gene runs into Darnell unexpectedly, and he reads Darnell the riot act. And he said, Darnell, that thing is still growing on your face. Get my car, we're going to the hospital. So Gene began a journey helping Darnell. As it turns out, that growth on his face was in fact cancerous. But what he learned in law school was the importance of advocating for people. But I want you to know who he was advocating for. He was advocating for a person who didn't have a lot in his bank account. He was advocating for a person who didn't didn't have much stature. So he was advocating for a person who didn't have a voice. So I am really proud of my son, because one of the things that Anna and I try to instill on both of our kids is to believe in something bigger than yourself. And that story really encapsulates. He got it. So finally, I just want to thank all the performers, from the African libations to the speakers, to the spoken word, to Kevin, to Brandon with your heavenly voice. Brother, that's a wonderful voice. We all say thank you. And again, I want to say thank you to Debbie Rose and Al Curtis. And Mom, I thank you for instilling in our family the importance of giving back. You do it. Deserve that honor, because you served as a role model for the family on what it means to give back. And I thank you. 2 days from now, my wife and I are going to celebrate our 42nd anniversary. I apologized to her too in advance, and I said, sweetheart, I'm sorry I haven't gotten you anything for this anniversary. But now I can say that I haven't personally given her anniversary gift, but you have given her a wonderful anniversary gift. Thank you, Debbie.
You see where Eric Jr. got his greatness, right? Eric Eugene Garvin was blessed to come from a fine family, long roots, and understanding, and a loving, giving nature. I have to say, I really made a boo-boo. I overlooked Ross. Or did you still want to perform? Okay. I apologize. I overlooked you. Please come forward. And then after Ross performs, I'd like the committee to sort of make their way to the front so you can be acknowledged for all your hard work.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I heard a lot of people talking today, and it's kind of all these people. I heard a lot of people talking about Eugene, E Money, first and foremost, it takes a village to raise a child, and the roots that everybody been saying, it's come from two sides of the family that had a strong backbone to give a lot of love. Carol, sorry. Anna's the best dresser, so Eugene got it from her. And not just more than anything else, you got grandmothers from both sides, grandfathers from both sides of the family that came and poured into this wonderful man that God gave. You got uncles that was from all branches of the military. You have a grandmother, Margie Garvin, Margie baby, that not just stood there and advocated for every one of her grandkids, every one of her kids, every one of her great-grandkids. So at the end of the day, I just wanted to say to all the uncles, to all the aunts that made this man possible to stand the way he is today, that we all understand, I want to give you guys a round of applause, and I salute you guys for everything you have given to this guy since I met him. The poem I have right now is, The poem I have right now is, out of one comes many, out of many comes one. Motion of love, and care places memories in everyone's heart, far and near. Knowing you touch every soul is just a simple meaning that you planted a seed of gold. For everyone, no one can ever deny the positive and the strength that you provide. Knowing why love and care is so important, why life is meant to be hard, not neglect. Call me when you need me. Call me when you forget me. Understand that the vision that you put to me is just a mirror glass or a lens and a camera that you just project to make everyone see what you see. You clean the room with your outfits and your poise. Quietness was your lethal weapon. Not just one, not just two, but just your smile made it very true. Your passion for art and human rights will always grow. You're still one of the best dresses that I know to this day. As I stand here knowing this is a celebration, you have many uncles that stood there in reservation to be by your side at a beck and call. Your father, your mother, your sister, one of all. You guys were like the musketeers, and you still are. Just know, today will always be a proud day. Aunt Anna, we love you, and all the things you do. For everything you do, we appreciate you. Darryl, thank you for always being there and being the one that knows how to talk. You're very firm. You're like 8 o'clock on the dot. And Margie, baby, without any ado, I salute you and I love you. You know you're my baby no matter what. Thank you for blessing my life in any way, shape, or form, and making sure Eugene Garvin was who we know and adore. God bless you guys.
Thank you so much. I want to thank you. I want you to give yourselves a big round of applause. It's been a long program, and you've been so wonderful. We've come to the conclusion of the program, but before we close out, we have some really great food that we want you to, stay and share with the family and partake. But we also need to say publicly and acknowledge that this was a community effort. This was a community effort, and without these people, we would not have been able to put today's program together. And I want to also remind you that to take the program with you, read the obituary, just in case you still don't have a real understanding of who Eric Eugene Garvin is. So we'd like to acknowledge Reverend Dr. Demetrius Carolina from First Central Baptist Church, Deadrian Clark, who's the Executive Director of the Central Family Life Center, Iron Mike Perry from True to Life, Rachel Euler from True to Life, Samuel Dennis from Central Family Life, and our wonderful able techie. Man, I was texting him at night, and I wasn't sure if I had put the slide thing together, and I was like bugging him, so I really want to thank you, Sam. The Stratford Funeral Home, who made the programs available and also live streamed this program for us today. Padro's Kitchen for the good food. My able-bodied associate, Naruka Johnson, Stephanie Chavot, Samson Abdudarin, and Aiden Rivera. They are my staff, Team Voca, and they were there all the time and put up with all of my crazy, compulsive, obsessive things. Stephanie Richardson, Wanda Richardson, who it was her birthday yesterday, and she cooked and everything for the family yesterday, and she also made potato salad for us today. and Ross, who helped to clean, set up for us today, Lizette Vantanuzzi, the Long Island Consistory, sorry, I'm not Episcopalian or anything, so, no, I'm only kidding, Consistory, number 61, Trinity Baptist Church, Friday Abubini, Doctors Aurelia and Al Curtis and Mark Irving, and I want to thank our financial supporters, Ellsworth Mitchell, Reverend Dale Smith, Miss Eileen Dixon, Bishop Victor Brown, Stephanie Chabot, Manor Bagels, Anthony Busseret, John Tomlin, Alfred Curtis, and Debbie Rose. I'd like to ask the committee members to stand up so that everyone can thank you. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up. And work hard. Work hard. I want to thank our performers, each and every one of them. They came through. They made sure that everything was done, right. I want to thank Gregory Taylor because he's not only our everything. He also set up. He put up with me last night on the phone. So I want to thank you all. And again, my co-host. Alfred Curtis, I'd like to thank you for your hard work. And there is food in the back. Please enjoy it. Have fellowship with the family. But what we're going to ask is that you let the family get their food first, and then you are welcome to partake. Thank you. Thank you all for coming.
As far as the committee goes, as you know, coming together is the beginning. Working together is what? Progress. Staying together is success, and that's what we did as a team. There was no I in team. We worked together, and we had the best team that Fortune had, and did all the little things. And I told a member of the team that Debbie has been my wife for the last few months, because husbands do fight with wives. So I'm giving you a ring back.
Whoa! Wow!
But seriously, thanks to all of you for coming out today. You could have been a million places, but you decided to be here. As Eric said, the family is very appreciative of you being here today. And let the party begin.
Yes, and please let me acknowledge also DJ Tito. He was great. Thank you, DJ. Thank you.
The family, please go up first, and followed by the guests. Just bring it straight ahead.